What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live Cantina Hour of Hops Geek News, your home for comic books, movies, TV shows, and you know it. We typically feature a beer of the week. We are live right now on Facebook and YouTube. If you're joining us, hop in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from, all of that good stuff, so we can party if you would like. And today we're going to talk about, of course, hey mom, I see you in there. I see you. We're going to be talking about the life of James Earl Jones, some of our famous, very fun movies that we love of James Earl Jones. And then, of course, we're also going to talk about some spooky lore for Friday the 13th because that's coming up. So, first things first, I am drinking a country pumpkin. It is a pumpkin ale from Ithaca Beer Co. up in Ithaca, New York. I drank this because my first memory of James Earl Jones is seeing him in The Sandlot. He was that old baseball player, kind of country guy, right? We all remember him with the dog, and it just reminds me of the country. And then also, it's an excuse to drink pumpkin beer. So that's what I'm drinking. Lauren, what you got? What's up?
I actually have a baseball beer. So this is from
What?
Union Station Brewery. It is called Cranston Thug Life. It's a double New England. I definitely let it age longer than I should have, but it still is quite delicious. I have a friend who works for JetBlue, and he was up in that area, and he's like, I'm gonna bring you back some beer. So I love it when friends who aren't that into beer, like, I went to this great brewery and I'm gonna bring you back beer because I'll get like beers from like the most random of breweries I didn't even know existed. So this is actually quite delicious. I got it in my Vader mug, and I
I
got my Mufasa Lion King shirt on.
I am Mufasa. Yeah, no, of course I've got the Empire Strikes Back hoodie on from Roosevelt's because he's the voice. I mean, he is Darth Vader, right? He is the most
Mufasa.
iconic villain, and it's crazy. It really is. Before we kind of dive into it, what's up to Megan? What's up to Pat? What's up to my mom in the chat? We are hanging out, and then yeah, of course, man. Like I said, we're gonna talk some James Earl Jones. So, Lauren, what do you have? No, why don't you pimp a little something out? We have a little something coming up here. The run you guys might have heard a little bit here. So why don't you go ahead and talk about that real quick?
You may have already heard this. If you haven't, obviously we're pushing it for a good cause. We're not getting anything out of this. Hops Geek Booze for Haley. We will put the link, and I will add the link onto YouTube and Facebook. It's also in our link tree. It is a virtual 5K. You sign up after taxes and fees. It comes to about $40. You get mailed a virtual medal, and the proceeds go to research for DIPG, which is pretty much an incurable form of brain cancer that impacts kids. A friend of mine lost her daughter to it 3 years ago. It is a terrible, terrible thing to watch your child to have this happen to your child. So I don't even care if you don't run. Just donate money. But I am it has made me so happy to see people sign up. Matt and I are both signed up. We started our own group. People who have never met my friend from ever, don't even know who she is, have already signed up. Thank you to Stacy, Tabby, Scott, Micah, and Patrick. I like looked at the list the other day and just seeing all these names that have signed up that don't know Dee Dee, didn't know Haley. Like, it's awesome. And again, I don't care if you lie and don't run, but you should run because we all tend to drink a lot of beer, so it's good to
Running's
run.
good.
So
Yes,
yeah, running's good. Just be mindful of your
I
joints,
was.
stretch
I didn't run
beforehand, do
it.
your walk at the beginning and the end. But yeah, we're all gonna run a 5K in October and earn our medal, and it's all for a good cause because fuck
It
cancer.
is. That's right. And shout out to Gibson in the chats, talking about James Earl Jones. They said, I watched Lion King last year, really liked it. Of course, Star Wars. The
Like
saddest
the
thing is
first
that
time.
Jones reminded me of one of my closest friends who sadly passed away a few months ago. Hey, Gibson, I'm
Mm.
really sorry. I get that, man. As somebody who's experienced a lot of loss the last few years, a lot of grandparents too, people that I've grown up watching these movies with, man, I could really, really sympathize with that. So if you've got a favorite James Earl Jones moment, favorite James Earl Jones movie, any of that stuff, pop in the chat, let us know. We did just talk about Hops Geek Booze for Haley, so please, by all means, come, sign up for that. Link is in our link tree, and let's dive into it. So, Lauren, where
I
was
love
your
that he's the
first?
world's worst father and the world's best father.
He both is the world's worst father, yet the world's best father, and that's what I love. That's what I appreciate about you. So, what was your first introduction into James Earl Jones? The iconic voice. He's more so iconic for his voice, but he's been in some movies that you might not even realize.
So Sandlot was a big one, obviously, growing up. I mean, we watched Sandlot on repeat, and I mean, I still say to my kids daily, "You're killing me,
You're
Smalls."
killing me, Smalls. Yes.
Um, but I feel like
Would
when I
you?
picture James Earl Jones in a movie, I picture the Sandlot guy. That's who I picture because his iconic roles, to me, my favorite one is obviously Mufasa. That's where I really fell in love with him. Like, our cat was named Mufasa, which mom,
Mufasa.
and I just saw you in the chat, which I said we should name him Mufasa, and that poor cat only made it to like 2. We should have named him Simba. But they named him Mufasa because of the line where, like, I just hear that name and I shudder. Mufasa. Ooh, do it
Ooh,
again.
say it again. I mean,
Mufasa.
but yeah, he is Mufasa. Like
But
everything the
also
light touches is ours.
America. Coming to America was a big
Yeah.
one. And then they just redid that
With
one
Eddie
not
Murphy.
long
They did. They
ago. Yeah, they did a
did you watch
sequel.
the I haven't
I
seen the
did, of
sequel
course I
yet. Did you
did.
see it?
Mm.
Dude, shout out to Tony in the
I
chat,
watched it as
man.
soon as it
Loved him
came
in
out.
Field of Dreams. You didn't have
Yeah.
Field of Dreams listed in your thing, but he was in Field of Dreams with Kevin
Only seen Field of
Costner.
Dreams once.
Really? It's
Long,
I'm not
long
a
time
baseball
ago.
person, I guess. But I love The Sandlot, of course.
But yeah, Sandlot.
But I'm not an
Sandlot is a
overall
baseball
baseball
movie,
player.
but it's more of a kid's summer movie.
That's my thing right there is it's a summer movie. It reminds me of my days as a kid playing sports with all my friends, right? Like we would always show out
Sports
outside,
in
play
summer.
sports. Um, s'mores, you got the graham cracker, put the chocolate, and then you roast the mallow and you put the mallow on the cracker.
You know,
And
my
it's this
kids haven't
whole
seen Sandlot. We need to watch that.
my kids haven't either, believe it or not. Maybe we're gonna force our kids to watch the Sandlot when I come in October.
There you
Sit
go.
down, children. But seriously, he has 190 credits to his name. I mean, he's been around. He's narrated a lot of things, a lot of documentaries. And then of course, to most people, honestly, like he Darth Vader, right? Obviously David Prowse played the person in the suit, but he's the voice of Darth Vader. And you can't think of Star Wars without James Earl Jones. He did Rogue One. There was even like some Wookiee thing that he did. And then he also did very like some other things such as The Hunt for the Red October. He was in Star Wars Rebels as the voice of Darth Vader, even so the cartoons. He was in Doctor Strangelove as Lieutenant Lothar Zog. I don't like that movie, but I do remember him in it.
I
Field of
almost
Dreams.
no, I just almost feel bad for David Prowse because everybody just associates James Earl Jones with Vader and not him, even though he was in the suit
There's
all
a
the
whole
time.
documentary about it. It's actually kind of crazy. I definitely feel bad for David Prowse because he didn't realize that they weren't going to use his voice, obviously, until
Right.
like after it became like a whole thing. And obviously, David Prowse had passed away not too long ago, and so it sucks, right? But at the same time, it's like
Oh yeah,
the
he did.
voice. There's like a deep bass to James Earl Jones's voice. Like, I granted
It's
he
just
passed
fun.
away at
Yeah,
93, so he lived a very long, good life, but he was in Big
I could
Bang
just hear
Theory. He was in
laugh. Yeah.
Yes, remember who you are. Everything the light touches is ours, Simba.
Or when he goes
Um,
pouncing lessons, and he just starts laughing.
and now we have the Mufasa prequel coming out
That's
that
not
I
his voice
don't
though.
believe. No,
No,
it's obviously it's a
it's
younger
not.
Mufasa, but
Yeah. So I do have some fun facts about all of that.
hit
So
us with the
Empire
fun
State
facts.
Empire State Building did a beautiful nod to Vader. I'm assuming it's not there today. Today is 9/11, so obviously we want to recognize that and respect that. So I'm sure New York is in a very different state today. But if you didn't see it, it was really cool where they lit up the building, and they actually did a little scene from Ahsoka too, where it goes from Anakin to Vader. That really
Oh
cool
God,
little.
how honestly, like say what you want about Kenobi, but that entire fight sequence was so effing
I loved
cool.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. I
I did too,
genuinely
personally, man.
loved it. As a late Star
Also,
Wars bloomer, that was the first
I
time
know
I
I'm
got
so proud
emotional
of
about
you.
Star Wars.
So proud of you. We
Good,
all
we're getting
remember our
there.
first time crying to Star Wars. Mine just happened to be a different time. My
Mine
real
was
quick before your
Obi-Wan
fun
Kenobi, yeah.
facts, like my mom said that when she was a kid, he did the Bell phone book commercials. If you don't know what a phone book is, then
That's fun.
I don't know what to tell you, but they used to thick phone books, and then he also did Sprite commercials, which is funny enough. Like
Could sell anything with that voice.
I'm telling you,
So his last IMDb credit was actually Obi-Wan Kenobi, and so he did not show up to film that or record that. However, in 2022, he did give his rights to his voice to Star Wars. So this means he gave Disney permission to use past recordings to dub his voice as Darth Vader for future projects, which I just said they did on Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they
Yeah.
use a sort of AI software called a Respeecher to do that. So I don't think that
What's your thoughts on that?
if he signed it away and he's okay with it, I'm okay with that, especially because like this is a character that is so embedded in him, and like it's not like we've never seen his face on a Star Wars screen. And
You really
when
haven't. Yeah.
and I love when Hayden's in it and we know Hayden's in it, but it's still
Mhm.
James Earl Jones. I feel like it's such a cool just
You get the best of both
collaboration.
worlds. The
Yeah.
best of both
All
worlds.
right, Hannah, that's exactly what it is. And I think that he probably loved that character so much, that character gave him so much. He seemed like he really enjoyed it. If you ever saw him on Big Bang Theory, he had a lot of fun playing himself with the Star Wars
Well,
stuff.
Tony says that he loved being Vader and he didn't want anyone else to do it. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I
so, I
wouldn't
mean,
give up
how
that character. You can use my voice for the end of time as far as I'm concerned.
right, he wanted Vader to live on longer than him, and, now James Earl Jones is one with the Force, and the Force is with him. Hannah
Yes.
Matana.
I'm actually going on the voice. I saw Snoop was one of the you
Snoop.
know, judges, and I figured this is my shot. A boy,
I love Snoop Dogg.
Yeah,
He should be the symbol of America. He did a great job at the Olympics.
I did forget he was in Meteor Man too. Also, like Meteor Man was such a cringy, funny, goofy movie of like the 90s, or maybe it might have been 80s. But Meteor Man, I completely forgot about that. I need to get Tony on here because he remembers so many things. Like Tony's such a deep dive of knowledge. But if I was, I mean, you can't associate Star Wars without James Earl Jones. I mean, I would
Yeah.
absolutely, because right now the AI is a hot topic. So there's like a big thing with what's his name who played Grand Moff Tarkin. Like they didn't like that his likeness was used and everything like that. Megan's not really into Star Wars. You know what? I've turned one person to the Star Wars already, Lauren, and now it's time for Megan to
Okay,
come under my wing.
here's the thing, what I will tell you, Megan, is the only reason I decided to finally sit down and watch all the Star Wars was because Disney, half of Hollywood Studios, was completely gutting the park and turning it into Star Wars. And I was actually watching the nighttime fireworks, which you can still watch, which James Earl Jones, you hear his voice as Vader. Vader came on, and I'm like, I feel nothing right now. I had no emotions whatsoever. And I like
That's
feeling the
crazy.
emotions at Disney. I like getting in my feels. So I said to my daughter, oldest daughter at the time, I was like, all right, we have to go home and watch these movies. But I didn't fall in love until Matt made me watch the cartoons. So it's hard to convince somebody to fall in love with Star Wars because you have to consume so much to truly start to fall in love.
Well, I mean,
And
it's like
there's a
the
lot.
MCU, though. I mean, the MCU kind of
No, the
arguably
MCU,
have to
you can
do.
fall in love in one movie.
In Star Wars, you can fall in love in a movie. Why couldn't you fall in love in one movie
No,
with Star
because
Wars?
Star Wars, you can like one movie, but to truly fall in love, it's like the more you get, the more you love it. Whereas the MCU, you can love things individually, whereas Star Wars, I love it as a whole. Am I making any sense to anyone other than
No,
myself?
you know what? You're not. You're not. You know what? Megan said she's got nothing else going on. That's the spirit I need right now, not this right here.
I recommend though, Megan, if you're gonna do it, I know this is blasphemy to a lot of people. I recommend watching it in chronological order.
Why would that be blasphemy? Well, you
Because I
talking
know
like
some
one,
people
two,
are very
three, four,
adamant,
five,
like you have
six?
yes. No,
Okay,
I'm
so
talking
I've
1, 2, Clone Wars, 3, Rebel. I'll like do it all.
so actually
I'll
that's
make you
not
a list.
as blasphemous as you may think. So this is going to turn into a Star Wars discussion, folks,
But it used to always
unintentionally,
be
which
4, 5, 6. 1, 2,
all about.
3,
It did.
7, 8, 9.
However, there is another way to watch it. You could go 1 and 2, then you can dive into the Clone Wars show, right? And then you could watch, I believe it was 1, 2, 3 originally. Like if you're only watching the movies, 1, 2,
The
3,
last
and
season you wanna watch
then
with episode 3, then it's so much better.
yes. Well, and then like they recommend like maybe even doing 4, 1, 2, 3, going to 5 and 6 or something like that. I have to look it up again, but there was like a whole thing about like there was a way to watch it where you bounce back and forth between the two. However, um, my mom's a liar. She can't follow them. She's watched The Acolyte and all that. But Megan, I will definitely recommend that the Clone Wars, like the first season, isn't the greatest. However, if you want to dive into
It
the
does
Clone
get
Wars,
better.
I recommend number one,
Rebels
it
is
does
better.
it gets better. Number two, there is a way to watch Rebel. Star Wars never makes sense like the way you're supposed like watching it, how it came
No,
out. It
nothing's in
doesn't
order ever. That's
Nothing is in order. So
insane.
if you were to watch Clone Wars, Google the way to watch it because there are certain ways to bounce between episodes that connects all the
Don't even do that. That
storylines.
gets too much. The
Just
only
just
time
watch it in order
Megan, I
because
will
after
create
the
you the
first
list that
season.
I did that helped me tremendously because anytime I'm watching Star Wars, I feel like I have to remind myself where we are in total chronological film release and until okay. But see, for me, I did that the first time where I went back and
Oh,
forth, but like then I watched all of it chronologically and I enjoyed it so much more. And when you put in
you
now, you can put in, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan Kenobi, like all of these things, and they just connect so much better and they
they
just make
do.
all of it. And then once you do that, you can start reading the books. And then the books,
The books
like that,
connect even deeper. Dude,
yes.
the
And if the
episode
books
3 Revenge of the Sith book is honestly like one of the greatest piece of works because it really dives into Anakin's mind as he's turning to the dark side.
See, my favorite was the Thrawn trilogy. Like, I loved this
Oh
character
yeah.
so, so much, and they just built on him, like, so fantastic. And I think actually Timothy Zahn's gonna be at New York Comic Con.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I do agree with
just
Patrick. Disney should add a play in all order option to Disney
yes.
Plus. And then Tony says that if you want to dive into it all, there should be a guide for beginners. Maybe that's something we should do. Build
Well,
ourselves
I did
a
an article years ago on
Ooh,
hopsnews.beer, and, but there's been so much added since. You've had Ahsoka
yep.
added, Obi-Wan Kenobi added, the
Dude,
Acolyte
I think
added,
we
like,
need to redo that might be a good Star Wars article number 1 for but then also maybe that's something fun that we do.
it just has to be updated.
True. I will say that okay, I remember it now. It was you watch episodes 4 and 5, you get to the point where he's like you find out Luke's Vader's son, and then you go and watch 1, 2, Clone Wars if you want to add in the shows,
Oh, I
3,
see.
and then Rebels, and then you finish with 6 to see how it all ends. Because then you get the big reveal of, Vader is his father, and then you go back to see like how he fell to the dark side, how he was once the greatest Jedi, and then go through that. But
Right.
I can't tell you enough, like, Rebels will probably make you cry. The final episode of Clone Wars, if it doesn't make you cry, then I don't know what to tell you.
First time I watched it, it did not make me cry because I was not invested and you told me to watch it. The second time I
That's
watched
true.
it, connected it with episode 3, then I got emotional. But also I feel like you don't have to like everybody knows going in
There's no
except for
wrong
my
way to do it.
daughter's boyfriend. He is the only one in the entire world who watched
Oh,
episode
Sergio.
3 and was shocked that
I
Anakin was Vader. The only one. But
dude,
outside of
I
that,
wish you videoed that because that would have been great. Like, I need to see somebody's reaction that
I
they
wish Haley had
legitimately
video
do
of it.
not know
I
because it
knew
would
it
have
was
been just
coming.
perfect.
Yeah, I don't know why but I mean, watching Sergio watch Billy Madison at our house last week and watching the shock on his face with Steve Buscemi showing up was like, I can't even
Glad
fathom
I
it.
called
Like,
that guy.
yes, he lost his mind in that scene. He's
It's
hilarious.
it's it's good, but I mean, yeah, Rebels though. I mean, James Earl Jones came back to voice Vader for Rebels. You could also play the OG Battlefront games, the 501st. Dude, Patrick, I love those. Those were my favorite games growing up. And then even like the Revenge of the Sith video game that I had on PS2 was like some of the best. The last episode of the Clone Wars, yeah, it's hard not to be emotional. But the thing I guess I love most about Star Wars, I'm sorry we came here to celebrate James Earl Jones, which I guess we are because
And this
he's
is Cantina
Vader, and
Hour.
Vader's like my all-time favorite character because there's so much depth to who Darth Vader is and all of that stuff. Like there's so much universe, I
Really
guess you can
universe.
say. There's so much involved in Star Wars that you really could just pick it up anywhere too, like and start learning. It's like X-Men in a way, except for X-Men just gets really confusing. There's 75 things about the same thing going on. Um,
See, I find Star Wars more confusing than X-Men.
but you literally talked today about the Wolverine comic you did, and then I was like, I feel like this is the same story. Like, does his
But
past
they're
comes back
all
to haunt him?
different too.
That's literally the every single Wolverine, but
But that's being consistent to the character. That's because the people who are writing Wolverine know Wolverine and they know what he is and what he
no,
wants and how
I
he
know
is. So they're just staying consistent to
that's
Wolvie.
fair.
But it was a new
So your mom
villain.
said Vader's the best villain ever, and I think so too. And I think James Earl Jones's voice lends a lot to that, because the depth and the bass and the way he speaks, and he's so nonchalant about absolutely everything at the same time. Uh,
Logan told this is totally I don't know why I just thought this because it said backstory. Logan told some stranger today in the store that he broke his arm, and I'm like, okay, Logan, we gotta go. And he goes, I was just trying to tell her my tragic backstory.
This is his villain origin story. Next thing you know, he too
I
will
knew
be
my mom
killing
would agree.
kids.
Oh,
Oh my. Oh wait, time out. uh yes, he is a baritone. Yeah, I mean James Earl Jones, man. Get the Vader from my garage. Well, unfortunately, Dad, Mojo as the kids call him, that Vader broke and is no longer with us. I did have like a it was like a
the one with the
4 foot size
force.
Darth Vader that my parents gave me. And it was awesome. And I used to use it to scare the shit out of my wife, like Carrie and the kids and stuff. I would hide it in random places in the house and they get fucking freaked out. But I don't have it anymore because it broke. But I do have like tons of like Lego. It's just crazy that like this guy is one of like because when you think of Star Wars, you can't think of Star Wars without Vader. And so it's crazy to think of like this guy was the reason, one of the reasons that got started. And it almost overshadows all the other things that he has done. But he
Mhm.
again, 190 film credits and narrations, and it's
Well,
impressive.
yeah, and I wanna go to back to Mufasa for a second too, because
Yeah, let's talk some Lion King. We've focused on Star Wars a bit. Like Lion King, he's done a lot more than just Star Wars.
right, and he lives in you, he lives in all of us, you look to the sky of the great kings of the past. So if you still wanna hear this amazing voice, you still wanna hear Mufasa and you still wanna hear Vader, the fireworks at Magic Kingdom include the part where Mufasa says, "Remember who you are." At Hollywood Studios, if you get Vader on Star Tours, you're gonna hear James Earl Jones in that same ride as a Disney California Adventure or Disney California Disneyland, I'm sorry, not Adventure. And it's also at the Disneyland in France. So you hear him as Vader at both those places. And at Disneyland California, you can hear him as Mara in the Indiana Jones ride. So he's all
Oh,
over, the parks. So he's still very much alive. And that's really kind of cool that you can continue to live on. And he's still going to be a part of children's childhood that don't even exist yet. Like kids that don't exist yet are still going to fall in love with the Lion King. Like my son had a Lion King
oh
birthday
yeah.
party, not long ago and fall in love with Vader, but that's a little bit different because well, you were with me when I bought the shirt at MegaCon that says Anakin Skywalker's daycare, like taking care of
Yeah,
kids since Order 66.
but I mean, Lion King and Star Wars are one of those timeless things. They're one of those things that are going to transcend generations long after we're gone. Not saying that anything else that he hasn't. And honestly, I forgot about the fact that he still lets us know that this is CNN. Completely forgot about that. Tom asked if could James Earl Jones have voiced Jason Voorhees' inner monologue. You know what? That's what it sounds like to me now, as he's
I feel
killing
like
teenagers in the streets of Manhattan.
I was gonna say, does he even have an inner monologue? I feel like there's, like, no thought process, it's just kill.
My dad says, should Treehouse do a James Earl Jones tribute beer? I feel like there should be a lot of breweries that are probably going to do that. I wouldn't be
Right.
surprised. I hope they do. Treehouse is really good at that. He is King Zamunda, but Sandlot, yeah, I haven't introduced my kids, so I can't say for sure if Sandlot is one of those things that's going to transcend generations the way Star
But
Wars.
we all say, "You're killing me, Smalls," to our
You
kids.
do.
Every
I've
parent
seen
out there
people
has
wear
said
the
it.
shirt that says "You're killing me, Smalls," and I compliment it. And they literally sat there and said, "I don't even know what this is from. I just like the shirt." And I'm just like,
No.
how?
No, that guy has, like, a TikTok and does, like, funny stuff about Sandlot and
He
stuff,
does. No, he
and
does,
he
and
looks
he's, like, married with
exactly the
kids and everything. It's like, good for you. Like, I remember him
he's just
from,
yeah.
The Big Green. The short red-haired kid, obviously, is what we're
Mhm.
talking about. Like, he was in The Big Green. Great movie too. I can't remember if he was in The Little Giants, but I also need a James Earl Jones GPS voice. I'm kinda surprised that never happened. Is the
Yes.
if we're using his likeness for movies, can we get a GPS voice? Like, I don't know. You disappoint me when I miss my left turn I'm supposed to take to get on the highway. Like, I don't know.
Someone commented, like, "We need Castiel as a GPS," like, "I don't know why you didn't turn when I told you to turn."
That would be
Uh,
good too. Do you want to go in? We can still like if anybody has some James Earl Jones moments they want to share with us, by all means, hop up in here. But this Friday is a special day. And I say special in the sense of it's Friday the 13th, speaking of Jason Voorhees.
it's
A
the
day
19th anniversary of Supernatural.
Oh, I was gonna say flash sale tattoos. Lots of tattoo shops. Pretty much, I've been getting nothing but ads for tattoo shops, but they're all in like California, Colorado, Phoenix. I'm like, why are there none of like hardly any of them in the Virginia area? Which shout out to my boy Ronnie, by the way, if you're in Massachusetts, his tattoo shop's pretty awesome. He's the one who has worked on my Star Wars sleeve. I need to get it finished. Hopefully, I'll do that here soon. Um, but he has his own tattoo shop. See him. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head the name of his tattoo shop. I'm hopefully one of my parents will chime in with that and I'll help you out. But flash sale tattoos is always a big thing for Friday the 13th. $50, $100, 150, something like that. And you can get like Friday the 13th spooky themed stuff. So Lauren, I know Supernatural 19th anniversary. So that's the day it actually started, huh?
Yeah, September 13th. And we actually will be that Friday dropping our wrap up of season 9. So we have recorded seasons 1 through 9. Matt is on 12. So we need to get going on 10. 10's a good one. That you got Demon Dean, you got the musical, you got some good things going on in 10.
It takes
I
me
know
a
you're in
little
a
bit to
rough
like
patch now because of
refresh.
Mary.
Oh God. Well, it's more of like I need to absolutely. I'm trying to finish so that way when I come and visit in October, like I can be done with the show finally because it's been well over a year,
Finally. And
and
then
then
you
we
can
can throw like a
restart it. Oh, that'll
celebration
be so
party.
fun.
Okay, I don't know about all that, but we can throw a big
I
celebration
will buy you
party.
pudding and pie.
Oh yes, there's gonna be pudding, pie, beers, and we're gonna get fake supernatural tats, and we're gonna
Make
slay
the
demons.
turducken fake. I'm gonna get a real one. I want a
I
little
would get a real
baby.
one. Oh yeah, the little.
So
I
it's
would do
also the 55th anniversary of Scooby Doo.
that.
So that's
God,
fun.
I love
I
Scooby
remember
Doo.
last year we did the Scooby Natural episode for September 13th.
We did. I know we haven't scheduled our September Patreon watch. I'm going to do that in the next couple of days. I am sorry. I am just so forgetful
Life.
and such a piece of trash and
God, you're
been
the
really busy.
worst.
I've also
You're
been
like
really busy.
Sporky or
I'm
Forky.
doing a lot of jobs. You're right. I need the anti-possession
Fun fact,
tattoo.
he's not Sporky because sporks are copyrighted,
He just
trademarked,
opened his shop in Westford,
and
Mass. That's what
trash.
it is. Yes, he just opened
So
it
I
in
don't.
Westford.
So the anti-possession tattoo, for one, being a girl, I don't want to get like a tribal tat right here, and two,
Yeah,
I
you
feel
look
like
like
I look.
every biker mom. Like, ooh, look at my tat.
Well, I have a friend who wants to do that there, and like I think it looks great on anybody who does it. I think it's a really cool tattoo. Obviously, I have a very positive association with it, but I that's not what I want. So I want to do just like a silhouette of
Do you?
baby. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean,
Listen,
I
I'll buy a
will wear
tattoo
my,
gun. I
if I
got
ever
you.
feel in danger, I do have anti-possession earrings, so I will not be possessed. If you're concerned for my safety, I appreciate that. I got it.
Yeah, I don't know. I would do something like the car or something. I wouldn't do the possession thing just because I feel like that's the most overdone thing. I would look for something obscure, maybe a cup of pudding to
A cup
remind
of
me of my time.
pudding.
Yeah, why not? That sounds like fun.
No, that's
Huh?
funny. But you also, I don't, I only have the one tattoo, and I don't know that I want to do color. I think I want to stay with one color. So like pudding, you got to have color
I'm
because you
so
got to have the
white that
lid has to be
color
colorful.
just I'm all about the color, man.
Pops.
I'm so pasty. I'm so pasty white. Yeah, I love color. It's
I mean, I
exciting.
feel like I'm pretty white till I take my watch off and I see this stark contrast.
Oh, Lauren, next tattoo idea. I can tell you mine. Mine is a monster hot dog. I have space for it right here. I'm on a hot dog. I'm sorry, like that's just like this. It's like a Godzilla hot dog. That's because I love hot dogs and it's goofy to match my, Bigfoot.
But it's goofy hot dog? Like goofy,
Oh, I
goofy, goofy?
well, no, but I actually want a pop punk version of Donald Duck because I'm like a grouchy old man. And they just came out obviously with a whole new world soundtrack for Disney. And one of the things is pop punk Donald Duck. And so I have so much space on this arm to fill in. Like I would get a pop punk Donald Duck with my monster hot dog. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to hear Yellow Card play I Can Show You the
Oh,
World. It was really good. And they had the girl that does the Jasmine part, she was there with them. So they brought her out and she
yeah.
sang that.
She's
And then I
so
saw
good.
Newfound Glory did Part of Your World last month when we saw them
Don't
too.
change the
So
subject, Lauren. What's some
you
tattoo?
brought it up.
What are you
My
doing
next
next?
tattoo, okay, either it's gonna be baby or on this ankle, I want to do like,
Oh
I don't
my
know why I have
God,
to
she's
lift my
showing
foot up.
feet for free. You guys have to subscribe. Just close the camera. You have to subscribe on our page.
I want actually
Subscribe to
want
our
to do a Star
Patreon.
Wars
No
tattoo.
feet.
I want to do a Star Wars tattoo where I have like a little TIE fighter, a little Millennium Falcon, kind of like going around my ankle and like
I'm
little
so
like pew
proud of
pew
you.
pew between them. So it'd
I'm
be
so
like an
proud of you.
anklet.
I'm proud of you.
I haven't
You
done
know,
it yet.
Star
But
Wars tattoo. You know, but the
I
fact that
can't
you're
get a
rocking the Star Wars
Wolverine one though
tattoo.
because if I get a Wolverine one, Brielle says that if I get a Wolverine one, it's for her brother, and then I have to get one for her, and it's not fair. I
Well, then
clearly
that's
love
just the
Logan
way.
best because I. There you go. She's the middle child.
He's your favorite son. Okay, what more does she need to know?
I don't have a favorite daughter. I guess that's the issue.
That's tough. Tough. See, I have a favorite son and a favorite daughter. That's because I had one of each. But I
Did you know if you fear Friday the 13th, it's called Periscavida? Catriophobia.
I did not. How? What? So that's a fear of Friday 13th because all the bad things that are supposed to happen. A
I
Mega
guess
Man
so. And it,
inspired life meter. I like that, Tom.
it comes from triskaidekaphobia, which is a fear of the number 13th. What did he
It's
say?
a
Get a basic white girl what?
basic white girl tattoo, and instead of paw prints, get Star Wars animal prints. Okay. All right. All right. My dad, Redthorn, that's what it is in Westford, Massachusetts. That's where my boy Ronnie, he does amazing work. He's got half of my leg done. I just have moved and haven't gone back, and I don't want anybody else to touch that leg besides that man right there. Take that as you will. And then Megan, different every day. The youngest is winning my favorite today. My
That
youngest
I agree with
was
that.
winning my favorite this morning until she decided to sneak her iPad and watch YouTube in her closet, and I caught her. And then she decided to get real angry at bedtime. So there's room for favorites. I'm just saying, like, it changes every day.
Mm-hmm. I've always said that. It depends
Par-
on the day.
Parents, man, parenting. You guys want to
But I
come?
mean,
Come.
when your
Let's have a drink.
oldest is moved out, she's clearly the easiest, although she's the most expensive.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
The
Anyways,
older they get, the more
we were
expensive they
talking
get.
about the fear next Wednesday for the watch party. Yeah, I think we can possibly do that, Patrick. I'll get with you. But are you afraid of Friday the 13th? Does anybody believe in superstitions?
No, I'm not
I'm
afraid of
very
anything
I'm a little stitious,
except
man, when it
ghosts.
comes to my
No,
sports
I ain't afraid
teams.
of no ghosts.
Oh, I don't care about ghosts. I'm just very stitious when it comes to my sports teams. Like if something's not working or I wore something when they won, guess
What
what?
am
It's
I
not getting
afraid of?
washed.
I don't
I
like
hope you're
flying.
really you don't like flying.
Every bounce makes me nervous,
Really? I love flying because it
but I
gets me
do
there
it all the
faster.
time.
I'm
Well,
very
obviously, yeah.
impatient.
I have
Very
2
impatient.
flights planned in the next 6 weeks, but I don't like flying. I'm trying to think of other things I'm scared of. I mean, obviously, you're scared of something happening to your kids, but I don't have any, like, fears
See,
like that.
Patrick gets it. I'm a very superstitious when it comes to sports and
I'm
like
one of
how
those, even if my team loses, it's still enjoyable. Obviously, it's more fun if they win.
I
I
can't
have a
believe
healthy relationship with sports.
I do not, and I can't believe you guys have agreed to come to a Green Bay Packers game. I hope you're ready to see me in my jersey, my overalls, and my cheese head, and see a
I hope
whole
you're ready
different
to
side of
see me
me.
wearing teal because
That's
I
fine.
did live in Jacksonville for 9 years,
My
so I
friend's gonna
have to
go.
root
He's a
for the
Jags
Jags.
fan.
Okay, good.
That's okay. I hope you're just ready to see a whole different side of me, in not in a bad way. Carrie doesn't like watching sports with me, but I've tamed it down as I get
Okay.
older.
I was like, "Should I
Ooh,
ask Carrie?
Megan.
Should Carrie prep me?"
Maybe, maybe. Your mom says Friday 13th is good luck day, and Megan also agrees that Friday 13th is lucky in their house.
My
My
brother would agree as
wife,
well.
Les, was a Friday 13th. Wait, what? Your youngest or your oldest, Megan? Because now I'm confused. So we celebrate and have a little party every Friday 13th, and this Friday 13th is her birthday. Oh my God! Happy
Oh,
birthday!
that's fun.
That's amazing. And then Tom also says that his wife's birthday, Greta, occasionally falls on it as well. And Megan's daughter occasionally. Yeah, my mom says watching sports with me is look, I can't help it. Okay. I just can't. Oh,
Are you one of those that, like, doesn't wanna go anywhere if your team loses? Like, you're like,
okay.
wanna sit there and cry?
Probably. I'm gonna let you take some more Friday 13th things as my wife calls me real quick.
Okay. So let's go into more of the background of why Friday the 13th is considered spooky. So, in Greece and Spanish speaking countries, it's actually Tuesday the 13th that is considered a day of bad luck, while in Italy, it is Friday the 17th that is met with fear. So, if anybody wants to read more of these, I actually got this from CNN.com. I can put the link in the Facebook and the YouTube in a minute. So, the Last Supper seemed to actually put a curse on the number 13. The 13th and most infamous guest to arrive was Judas. And that didn't end well because he was a disciple who betrayed Jesus, which of course led to his crucifixion. I'm sure you've all heard that story. If not, it comes up a lot at Christmas time. Easter. Friday is supposedly the day Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge. It is also supposedly the day that Cain murdered his brother Abel. And it is also the day the Temple of Solomon was toppled and the day Noah's Ark set sail in the Great Flood. Although I don't think many people would consider Friday bad luck. Friday has got its whole acronym for TGIF. So uh, hundreds of the Knights Templar were arrested on October 13th, 1307, and many were later executed. In the Da Vinci Code, they popularized the theory, emphasis on theory, that this was the original Friday the 13th, and this is where the superstition began, with connecting Friday and the 13th. Um, Again, that is a theory. It wasn't until the 19th century, however, that Friday the 13th became synonymous with misfortune. As Steve Root explains in The Penguin Guide to the Superstitions of Britain and Ireland, the combination of Friday and the number 13 is a Victorian invention. In 1907, the publication of Thomas W. Lawson's popular novel, Friday the 13th, captured the imagination with its tale of an unscrupulous broker who took advantage of the superstitions around the date to deliberately crash the stock market. That last one is, of course, a quote. Again, I am referencing an article from CNN.
The
Then,
stock
of course,
market.
the Jason movies took it to a whole new pop culture level.
Hey, speaking of which, Sam Winchester's in one of those movies. Just saying.
He is, and what a great day to watch
Actually, that was
that
actually a
one.
really good one, honestly, because Daniel Panabaker was also in it, and that's great. There's no closed captioning on YouTube. I'm sorry, Micah. I
I
know
like
you're
that
probably
Micah just put a
busy.
snowman.
I'm
He
sorry.
just put a snowman
There's no
emoji
closed
in there.
captioning. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought
Don't
it
know
would
what to tell
usually
you.
do that automatically.
It usually does it automatically. I don't know.
All right, if you want more Friday the 13th from CNN, I did put the links in the Facebook and the YouTube.
CNN, huh? Well,
They have some fun. When I used to do the beer schools, I would sometimes find articles with
I
them.
just
Them and
mentioned Danielle
history.com.
Panabaker, Tom. She's in that. Her in, Sam Winchester Survive, okay? And
Spoilers.
this is my favorite part. I hope you guys all are making stuff up about what we say in your heads if you're watching this or listening to this and you can't hear us. I hope you're just making things up because that's half the fun. I do love Friday the 13th. I'm probably gonna go see Beetlejuice actually on Friday instead. Finally, Carrie and I took the day off because we were originally gonna go get flash sale tattoos, but I think we're gonna go to see Beetlejuice because I don't get to have days off to go to the movies like I used to in Idaho, which is shitty.
Oh,
Even though I live
yeah.
I live closer to a movie theater now. I just don't get to go there as much as I did. Funny how that works out. But no,
Logan keeps talking about it. He did not love it.
he didn't. Yeah, my kids are afraid of Beetlejuice. So I was like, I think we can take them. But Oliver's like, I'm afraid of Beetlejuice. I'm like, my guy, you literally went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine, and you're telling me you're afraid of Beetlejuice.
Well,
Make
so
it.
Logan watched the first one, got sucked in, really liked it. I was going to take him over to my mother-in-law's, and then she wanted to see Beetlejuice, so we all ended up going together because Brielle really wanted to see it. And I thought, this will be fine. Logan gets really excited at the snake from Nightmare, and again, he did great with the first one. He will
Yeah.
randomly this whole week will bring up Beetlejuice and tell me the things he did not like and he was not okay with.
You've definitely scarred that kid for life.
I think
Show the
I
kids the
did. I didn't
cartoon
mean to.
Beetlejuice. I like the cartoon of Beetlejuice too. Like that's awesome too. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. Kids these days, I'm telling you, man, they just don't understand. Okay. Like my daughter all of a sudden is afraid of the Grinch. That makes no sense to me, even though she talks about the Grinch all the
Dude,
time.
he
I don't know.
steals Christmas. Like, that's not cool. That's understandable.
Well, if these kids don't stop acting a fool, I'm gonna steal. Anyways, um,
You don't have to
yeah.
steal it. You just don't make it happen.
Gremlins scared Tom as a child. Oh, dude,
Well,
Fat Thor was in
Gremlins,
the chat. When I was a kid, I always
Gremlins,
thought it was a comedy. Beetlejuice is a comedy.
Beetlejuice is a comedy. It's listed as like a horror comedy. But
Oh,
there was one part, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, that freaked my son out. And I was like, really? Because he goes to Spirit, presses on all the things, plays with all the creepy babies, does all
yeah,
these
you sent me
things.
videos of you guys at Spirit of Halloween, which is even more hilarious.
Yeah, Logan loves going there and pushing the things, and he walks through the little like covered thing at Spirit. He's fine. But it's just, we all have that one thing that, like, Jeepers Creepers did it to me. Like, we all have that one
Dude,
thing
I
that
fucking
is
hate
not,
Jeepers Creepers. Number
but it's
one.
just not consistent with, it's not rational. Like, he's been
Yeah.
watching Nightmare since he was,
And
my
that's
kids come out of the
arguably
womb and
scarier
I'm
than
like, here's Jack
Beetlejuice.
Skellington. I know people who were
Yeah.
scarred by Nightmare, which blows my mind, but my kids aren't
Any
allowed to be scared of
movie
that.
any movie is actually a comedy if your sense of humor is warped enough. Speaking of,
That's true.
I'm not going to go down that path because I'll immediately get canceled. So but I
We
was going to
will,
say
maybe we'll save that for a Patreon happy hour that's not recorded.
for the best, considering the day that is today, which is 9/11. Yeah, dude, 23 years. It's kind of crazy. Shifting again. We have a sandwich like
Crazy.
sad, happy, sad.
Well, that's life.
My mom doesn't like Night of the Living Dead. Okay.
I've never seen that.
The black and white, you've never seen that one, huh?
No, maybe
George
that
A.
would
Romero, that's
sound.
like the zombie movie that started all zombie movies.
Well, and I was gonna say that's Greg Romero, right? With
George
is it
Romero.
George Romero. So they talk about him a lot in about Walking Dead. The guy who does effects for that used to always talk about him on Talking Dead, and they reference him in Supernatural a lot. So maybe that should be one of our episodes. You want
Well, he was
unrational, overgrown
literally
animal? Animal?
animal, huh?
Aw,
Interesting.
animal.
He's just misunderstood. Okay.
We all have our
But
things.
that's it. Yeah, George Romero is the guy who's responsible for zombie films ever getting created. Like he's the pioneer for zombie films.
Okay, so let's do a George Romero Halloween episode. Where's my notebook?
Look at that. Look at that. We got George Romero Halloween episode. We're going to talk about Night of the Living Dead. Lauren hasn't seen it. I love it. It's cheesy, right? Like I know that's Tabby made that.
She did.
It's a cheesy movie, black and white, but it's still really good. It's like the very first zombie film. And George Romero also did a original version of Dawn of the Dead before Zack Snyder did his version, which is Zack Snyder's version of Dawn of the Dead is also really good. Patrick said he remembers watching Birds when he was 7. It was great. Yeah, Alfred Hitchcock Birds. That wasn't seen as a horror movie to me. I fucking hate Birds though, especially Dodo.
Just
Fuck you, Dodo.
one thing I will say in Beetlejuice, Birds made
Ooh,
me think of it. There is a Schitt's Creek nod. So if you're a
that makes
Schitt's Creek
sense.
fan, yeah.
Did you know the word zombie wasn't published until the 1940s? I feel like I might have known
Interesting.
that,
You
but I
didn't know
forgot.
Jesus is a zombie?
He is. Jesus is the most notable zombie, honestly.
So
Just
going back
saying.
to 9/11, it is fucking crazy
Hold
to me
on,
that
hold on,
there
hold
are
on, hold on,
grown
hold
ass people that
on.
weren't
Hold
alive
on.
then. Okay. Oh,
Time
sorry.
out.
We're still talking zombies.
Are we going to dress up for an episode? Yeah, I think we might dress up for I
We
think
dress
so.
up for
Maybe.
every episode. I have a Mufasa shirt on.
Keep the fit, Megan. God, are you new? Like, yes.
Matt's always dressed for an episode, so I've had to step
Come
up my
on.
game. I always have toys for every episode.
Guys. Also, I keep my medals in the background. Should I show
I
up?
have my medals are right
Down?
here.
I'm the
Here, can
goat.
you see my medals?
Dude, honestly,
Here's my
man,
medals.
I'm banning Tom first of all for the Eagles comment. However, second of all,
What do you say
yes,
about
there are actively adult like military members who were born after 9/11, and that is a very weird concept to me, and it doesn't make sense. And every time I hear somebody was born in like 2005, I want to punch him in the face.
Well, it's just you're not going to put the same level of seriousness and emotional moment on something you weren't alive to witness or you weren't old enough to comprehend. So I think it's very interesting the shift that we're now experiencing. And I said this not long ago. I was watching a stand up and somebody made a 9/11 joke and I was waiting for the ooh and all I got was laughter and I was like, are we really that far past 9/11 that we're going straight to laughter? Because I don't feel that we are, because I distinctly remember that day, but we have grown kids now. I don't know what Matt's doing. You're
I
looking for birds.
I can't relate. I'm gonna be honest with you. I make
You were
jokes.
also younger. I was 18.
I was in 6th. I actively still remember watching it happen.
You might actively still remember, but you were little.
Isn't it okay? Time out. Like, not to go down this weird path,
I
but
was
isn't it
probably taller than
crazy?
you. We were probably the same height, actually. Who
No, I
knows?
guarantee you I was probably taller than you. Isn't it crazy that we literally watched like 3,000 people die on live television at one point? Like,
It's
that's
fucking crazy.
and that's probably why my humor is so fucked up as it is today. No, I
Well, it's
make
a
a lot of
coping
jokes. I
mechanism.
do. I'm not the world's most stand-up human being. I'm sorry. I'm gonna tell you right now.
No one's
I
the
make
best.
jokes. Yes, Megan said she meant Halloween. Yeah, my family and I were going as Hercules characters. I'm gonna be Hades. My wife's gonna be Hercules. Um, my daughter's gonna be Meg. My son, I don't remember. He might be Phil, or actually, my son might be. Oh, he's gonna be Zeus. I'm sorry, he's Zeus because we sold him on the lightning bolt that we're gonna make for him. One of my dogs, who's very anxious, is going to be Panic. My cat will be Pain, and then I think our other dog is going to be Phil, or no, Pegasus. Pegasus because he's white. Sorry, Jesus Christ! You have 2 beers and you forget everything that's going on. Um,
I'm
lots
still
of people
waiting to
learning
be
about
told what I'm being.
history, not a life
That's a
event. So
great
here's
point that Patrick made. Yeah.
and my mom also said that a day ushered out of base. So yeah, so grew up on a military base and it was really weird because they didn't have fences at the time and you can just walk on and off. And so I actually remembered my my biological father, if you will, he was a cop on military base. I didn't see him for like 3 days because they shut everything down. They sent us home. I was at a on base school in right outside of Boston, so like where the planes took off from, right? And so we weren't allowed to leave our houses. I actively watched it, the tower, everything on live television, and so it was really weird. I think that really attributes to a lot of the reasons why like my generation of millennials are just like, we're doing this again. We just are so dead inside, man. We are tired of living through life altering events.
Yeah. I remember thinking life was never going to be the same. And honestly, the only thing that's changed is family members don't greet you at the gate at the airport anymore and you got to take your shoes off.
Yeah, TSA agents, really
I
angry
mean,
people.
thank God that's all that's changed. Like, how fortunate are we? But
Yeah, and like yeah, it's interesting. But there was that really cool. I don't have the picture to pull up, but that really cool picture of Captain America and Spider Man, overlooking where the towers would be, and so it's really interesting as well. Looking back at movies like Die Hard or Home Alone too, right? When the towers are there. And so you see movies like that, and Spider-Man was supposed to take place. There was like
oh,
a
it was, yeah, with the,
there
he
were
had like a helicopter caught between the towers and his webs and
yeah,
they took it
yeah.
out.
They had to
I remember
redo that
seeing that
whole
on the
thing.
news.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The scene
And
was
so
done.
people don't realize that so it's very jarring to almost see. And I went
It looks like
2
a
years.
ghost when you see it now.
Yeah, I was in 6th grade. So 2 years later, we took our 8th grade field trip and we were only allowed to go to the Statue of Liberty. But the Statue of Liberty wasn't yet open to people to go inside because of 9/11. So I wasn't allowed to go in the statue.
Oh.
I've never been in, and that's the only part of New York City I've actually ever been to is the Statue of Liberty. And even then, like I got to see it from the outside and I took it on like one of those old cameras. So I probably have pictures somewhere of like go to get film developed. But that's why I want to go to New York City Comic Con so bad. Number one, because I've never actually been to New York City. And number two, like, they've been cool, man. Comic Con, and you're going, of course. And it's like right after my birthday, so we're in like the perfect weekend. But that's okay. We're having the perfect weekend, the weekend before Halloween.
Yeah, it'll be the following weekend actually, right after New York Comic Con.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
for anybody out there, Lauren's mom, if you don't know yet, I'm coming down to Orlando, the 25th of October, where we are going to go to Disney and Epcot. It's UCF homecoming weekend. I don't really care about that school. Go Broncos, Boise State.
I didn't
And
go
now
there
I'm
either, but all my
yeah,
friends did. And my husband and my
everybody
daughter.
did. So Saturday we're probably Lauren's gonna cook something up, and then Sunday I've somehow convinced everybody to go to the Green Bay Packers Jacksonville Jaguars game for my birthday, and I don't know how I did that. But just know if the podcast ends after that, it's because I drank too much and I got too into my Green Bay Packers. And
And
I
now
actually,
Carrie and I have our own podcast where we talk
and
about
Carrie,
how
they talk about how
the
sports are the
self-control of sports
devil.
team.
Foosball is the devil. Well, we went on Christmas Eve to the Packers game, and I drank a good amount, but also I'm like very into it. Sports is very much a thing that you should talk shit. Like sports is just talk shit.
Yeah.
And so I'm cheering, I'm loud, I'm excited, and people were talking shit. So I talk shit back, and Carrie's not about that. She just like, I'm very much here. And so she didn't really enjoy that I'm over here like, yeah, go pack go. And then something happens. I'm like, how about that? And then like this old people with their daughter, they started talking shit after something. So I talk shit back when they lost. I don't know. It's a whole thing. Yes. But foosball is the devil. Damn right it is.
I have to like explain to Logan, like we've like ingrained in Logan that we don't like the University of Florida Gators. And so now Logan will be like,
Stupid
ew,
gator
gross.
shop.
Like
Gross.
literally today, he's like, ew, gross. That car has a gator sticker. And he goes, Mom, do you have any friends who are gators? I'm like, yes, Logan. I have a lot of very close friends that are gator. And I'm naming the friends that are gator fans. And he's like, really? I'm like, they're not bad people. It's all fun in games to say that we don't like them and we like this team. But he also keeps confusing the Dolphins with the Hurricanes. So it's like, baby
Poor
steps
kid.
here.
My son's playing football actually, but he keeps getting put on the 49ers, which is the team I hate the most in the NFL. And I feel like that's just the universe's way of taunting me. I fucking hate that 49 so goddamn much. So I hate that team and somehow Oliver, but he loves football. He loves playing it. He doesn't care about watching it, but he loves playing it. He was even out there practicing today, taking videos of himself throwing the football at targets. And I'm like, you know what, man? If that's going to buy me a house one day, keep at it. Because he really wants a Lamborghini, and he's like, I want to make the NFL so I can buy a Lamborghini. I'm like, well, don't forget me.
Now,
I
Logan's
want my
too
house
tiny.
paid off.
The only chance
You
he'd
can
have is
still
if
be
he was a
small.
kicker, maybe. We'll see. I mean,
Fair.
he should be
Oliver's
tall based
17
on
feet
his
tall.
genetics on both sides, but not your kid tall.
Fair. Well, maybe
Yeah.
Logan's gonna be a point guard for basketball. I don't know. My son can't play basketball very well, but
Could be a
you know,
John
who
Stockton.
knows? There
Yeah,
you
I mean, my
go.
dad's 6'4", my husband's 6 foot. He should be decently heighted, or he should be decently tall, but he's still so tiny. He's
Yeah,
tiny. It's because
my
he's
kids.
Wolverine, so once he hits puberty, then all his,
There you
healing
go.
factor.
See, it's
Yeah, he's still
it's
that
you
weak
know,
young kid.
it's gonna be a thing. I promise. He'll be all right. He'll be all right one
Fucking
day.
broken
But
arm, tubes in his ears. He's
ah,
getting tubes in one ear, a tube. Ugh,
poor
it's never
kid.
ending with this
Poor
kid.
kid. You know what? You know what? I'm telling you what, man.
It's been a month for
That's okay.
Logan.
At least your kid's not hanging out with high school kids in the neighborhood like my son has taken to, which is also weird. But that's a different story for a different time. We're gonna go ahead, I think, and wrap this episode up. Do you have anything else to add? Did I miss anything?
No,
We've
just
we've kind of talked a bit about
our
all of our.
what? What'd you say?
You cut out. I don't know. You tell me.
Oh.
You tell me. I didn't say anything.
I was just going to say we just recorded our Penguin episode. So Penguin and Agatha are coming out next week. So we recorded Penguin for this week. So we got Penguin comic book origin for that. And Matt recapped where we last saw Penguin in the Batman. And then we just recorded to drop Monday our Agatha Harkness comic book origin. And we discussed where we left off with Agatha in WandaVision. And of course, Friday, we will be dropping our wrap up of season 9 for Supernatural. I'm going to try to start lighting a fire under Matt, and we are going to record up to where he is. We need to start recording while your memory is still fresh. We need to recount.
Yeah, you
those
do,
things
because I
through.
do not be remembering the way you do. And then I'm like,
Well, I've
you're
also
right.
seen the whole thing more than once. I mean, I had
All
it on a
right.
day when I was doing dishes.
Carrie's back to work. I got more time. All right. We got
But
this.
season 14 has a phenomenal Halloween episode, and you're going to love it. I know you're going to love it. You're
I'm
going to fucking
close.
love it. It's one of my
I'm like a
favorite, most
season and a half
underrated
away.
episodes. Yeah, you're only like 30 episodes away. You got
Don't stop. I'm so close.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so do that. Obviously, guys, Hops Geek Booze for Haley. I cannot tell you all enough that you should join to help fight pediatric cancer, because cancer is stupid, especially childhood cancer. Join our run group. Maybe you get entered into a cool thing, but to do it for a good cause. All right, do it for a good cause. And if you want to support the show, patreon.com/hopsgeeknews. If you would like to just buy us a beer, then go ahead and paypal.com/hopsgeeknews is how you can do that. If you don't want to make a commitment, totally fine with that as well. And then, of course, each and every Wednesday at 9 a.m. is our Nerd Initiative comic book reviews. We will be back next week. Cantina Hour is going to keep on a rolling, Fred Durst style, perhaps. And let us know if there's a topic you want to see, hear, listen, all that good stuff. Thanks for hanging out, homies. I had a delicious time. Thank you for letting me drink a pumpkin beer. Shout out to James Earl Jones, one of the best voices of our generation. Cannot say enough, but you know what? In the modern day, he is going to live on forever and transcend generations, and that's the most we can ask for. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers.